And from here at District Library here, going to do a little video on how to make a ring wing glider. Let's get started, shall we? Okay, so to make a glider, you just need to have a square of paper. You can use this template. You can use a square of origami paper. You can use pretty much any paper you want to, as long as you cut out a square. And then here it says that if we want to use wings on our gliders, that you can use the leftover paper for wings. You do not have to. These gliders will actually glide on their own without wings, but they do really different things if they have wings. So I found it interesting to experiment with. So you certainly can if you would like. But for now, I'm just going to cut out my square. And what we want to do with this is we want to fold it a couple of times to create creases that are going to kind of make an X shape on our paper. So we're going to fold point to point. So bottom point to top point. Easier said than done. The paper is slippery. And you want to give it a good crease. I usually use just my thumbnail to give something a crease, but you can use like the scissors handle or a marker would also work really well to give that a nice sharp crease. Now we have the middle of one of our diagonals. We want to find the middle of the entire paper, so we're going to make the X by folding the other 2 points to meet at the top as well. And again, nice, good crease. And we'll open it back up, and there's our X. And that's going to guide us for our next folds that we're going to make. So what we want to do next is fold the bottom point to the middle of the paper. And you're going to use both lines to find the middle point. Follow along that line as we fold, and then use the horizontal line to as your guide for how far to fold out. Again, nice good crease, and then unfold that and do the same thing with this new crease. So fold the point up to the new crease. Make sure you're matching the middle there. Give it a good crease. And one more time, this is a really tiny fold. We're just going to fold that point to the newest crease that you just made. Tiny little triangle there. And you can actually leave this one folded because this is going to be our guide to start folding. And what we're going to do is sort of fold and roll all the way up just past the middle of our paper there. So follow this first crease. And then you're going to make another fold and follow the fold on the paper to make your next fold, your next crease. And just keep on folding and rolling all the way up. And like I said, we're going to go a little bit past the middle because we want to have these 2 little tabs that you're about to see. If we fold just past that original center crease we made, we're going to get tabs on either side here that can connect together to make our ring glider into a ring. And there we see our tabs. Again, make sure you give it a nice good crease. And now we want to start to create a curve, but this paper is really thick when it's folded up and it's kind of hard to work. So I found that the best way, I'm going to just move my camera to the edge of my desk here, is to use the edge of a countertop or a table. You've got your folded edge and you'll put that down against the corner, and with one hand on the top and one hand on the bottom, you're going to just kind of push that paper onto the corner and run it up and down. It makes weird noises and it's a little bit bumpy, and it takes a few tries to get it to start to curve out, but it'll create a nice natural curve for you. There are going to be some bumps in the paper, but that's fine. What you really want is to get that nice natural curve started. So kind of just work it out there. And then once you've got a good curve started, you're just going to complete the ring by wrapping the tabs up into a circle. You can kind of slip one inside the other, and then you're just going to tape the tabs to hold the ring together. I used a little bit of tape on the top, especially, and then you might want to put a little bit of tape on the inside of the ring too. I did just because it felt like one of the flaps was kind of loose and I didn't want it to interfere with my flying. Curl that over the edge there. And then to get inside was a little bit trickier. It took, as you'll see, it took me a little bit of finagling to kind of work that around. Easier said than done. Get that little piece of tape in there to hold down the remaining flap on the inside. It'll be easier to see when you're doing it yourself. There we go. And then again, wrap any of the leftover tape edges over. And there you have your ring. Now, I know it doesn't look like it should, but it will actually glide just like this if you throw it right. But that said, you can certainly add wings if you would like to. And for this, I would suggest if you're going to add wings, you can start with, I gave you a line there to cut along, and I usually start bigger than I know I need. So, because it's easier to just trim a little more off if you want to make it skinnier or shorter, than it is to have to like start all over again. So I started with wings being, I thought, quite a bit bigger than they probably need to be. I just line them up. If you want to put them on, you'll line them up with the front of the ring and you'll tape them on. Again, from the top and the bottom, just to make sure the wings don't flap around too much underneath there. And then it's really easy while the wings are taped on there for you to make changes if you need to. You can trim them a little bit shorter on each side, a little bit narrower. Just experiment with it and see what works best. So if you want to add wings, that's how you would do that. But let's give it a try. Okay, so hopefully you have your ring glider all made up. I also made one with wings because they fly totally differently, I think. I had a little trouble learning how to throw these, but once I figured it out, I thought it was really fun. If you happened to be in the library on certain Tuesday nights, you may very well have seen me throwing ring gliders all over the department. So one of the ways that I think that flying the rings without wings is easiest is to put your 2 fingers inside and your thumb on the outside. And then you want to throw it, but instead of trying to push it forward like this, like you would think it would fly, it's almost like you're throwing it so that the bottom is going out and then the weight at the front seems to right it and then it starts gliding. Took me several tries to figure that out. But yep, you can definitely throw it kind of like this. You can throw it up in the air way above your head too, or a little bit lower. Another way that I think works pretty well is if you want to hold your ring on either side and sort of kind of like you're throwing a football. You don't need to throw very hard. In fact, gentle throws usually seem to work better for me. And I also found that if you have a glider with wings, that I did not have luck throwing this one like this. I only really had luck throwing this one kind of like you would throw a football. And with the wings, I also discovered, first of all, I had to adjust the wings a ton. Like I made them narrower, I made them shorter, I played with it a lot to see what would work best. And that was really fun to experiment. But I found that it works best to throw these kind of like a football. And when you throw it, actually to kind of try and drop it a little bit, you can kind of see that the air catches those wings, and that helps to grab, if you throw it kind of down a little bit, that actually helps the wings to catch the air, it seems like, and help it glide a little bit farther. But I hope you have fun experimenting with these. I had a lot of fun learning how they worked, and we'll see you another time.